In 2019, LGBTQ adults globally had a combined total value of buying power at $3.7 trillion. Just think about that. That is a huge market that for many of you might be untapped. And that's why we have Scott Gatz with us today from Q.Digital to really dive into the opportunity with the LGBTQ community. Scott, so great to have you here on Cash In on Camera. And obviously, as more and more people come out, and then this is becoming more mainstream that we're talking about the community that you are having, you're having such an impact with. I think businesses don't really see what they should be doing, or maybe how they should be marketing differently to that community. Can you explain a little bit more about what the opportunity is?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think you have talked about it. I mean, if you think about over $3 trillion globally, I mean, more and more folks are feeling comfortable finding the words to come out as LGBTQ, and with that, their financial impact is immense. And we've been Q.Digital. We started about 14 years ago. We're a company that's all about providing content for the LGBTQ community, but we also introduce brands to the community as well, connecting them to our community authentically and
Yeah.
and entertainingly. And I think a lot of people think about LGBTQ folks in June, Pride Month. What should I do to be sponsoring the Pride Parade? Should I put a
Right.
rainbow up in my window? Should I have a special campaign? And those things are great, but really, January as I am in June. And
Right.
it's a full year initiative. I mean,
Right.
ultimately, how are you talking to this really valuable community, and getting them to spread word of mouth and talk about you? It's really untapped. It's amazing that there's a lot of advertisers talking to us right now, but really, when you take a big step back, it's a really small number.
Yeah, we're starting to see a little bit more of that in terms of products. I know my son and I were talking about recently, we're at the grocery store and we're starting to see some branding and different things that are happening in products. But I want to really dive into the media aspect of it because obviously that's what you do, and you represent some growing brands within Q Digital itself. And I know that you have experience with NBC News in the past, with Yahoo, Good Morning America, and Lifetime Network. So I just want to dive into the idea of the media piece of it and some of the brands that you're representing. What kind of direction are you guiding them into doing as far as maybe social media or any type of media, earned, owned, or paid?
Yeah, ultimately, I mean, if you think about it, you're trying to have a conversation, an authentic conversation with a community that cares about your products or your offerings or your services. And ultimately, I think I mean, honestly, this is in any marketing, but certainly in LGBTQ, speaking authentically, reaching out, having a conversation, understanding their needs, and talking in a direct way. And that could be on social. We care about the issues you care about. We're excited about the things you're excited about. It could be custom content that you're writing for your company blog or other channels like that. It could be video. It doesn't really matter, but it's about, are you part of the conversation? Are you really trying to speak with us and not just kind of broadcast at us?
Yeah, that's right. It's more about that conversation. And I think people are, regardless of whether you're in the LGBTQ community or not, you can sense when something is genuine. Like you can sense when a communication is genuine. I wonder what your feeling is, or what advice you would give to business owners. Let's just say that you have a business owner who is, how shall I say this? Not on board, okay,
Mhm,
personally, not on
mhm.
board, but they recognize that, there's an opportunity from a marketing perspective. Is that a disconnect? Or
It is.
how do
It
you
is.
how do
I think
you you know what I mean? Because that's not a genuine thing then. If it's coming
right.
from, if you have a business owner who doesn't believe, and is trying to just market for the sake of marketing,
Yeah,
that seems disingenuous to me.
absolutely. And there's a term that people call it, but they call it either pink washing or rainbow washing,
Oh,
where
okay.
you'll come out with a t-shirt with a rainbow on it, but are you really talking to us? Are
Mm.
you really expressing values? Are you really connecting with the community? And honestly, don't do it. I mean, to be truthful to yourself as well. If you're not on board, perhaps there's another community that you want to talk to. And I know that's a hard thing to hear, but ultimately, and we've talked to the biggest brands in the world, and the first thing we tell them is to get their own house in order. Are they treating their own
Yeah.
LGBTQ employees well? Do they have, before marriage equality, we would ask them, do you support civil unions and other ways that your partners? Do you have same-sex benefits? Things like that. If you didn't have any of that, why are you trying to talk to this community?
Yeah, that's
Look
right.
internally, clean up your own house, and then feel free to come forward, because you will be coming from that place of authenticity. And I understand everyone might not be able to get there, but then really be honest with yourself.
Yeah, I agree. And I read that 4 to 7% of the total population identifies as LGBTQ, right? It's a lot. There are a lot of people, and I want
Mhm.
to know a little bit more about the brands that you are working with. I think you have some branding here behind you, I think, in your set. But what are some of the brands that you're working with? And tell me a little bit more about the expanse of your Q.Digital agency.
Well, ultimately, Q.Digital, we publish content for our community, and we bring in roughly about 7 to 8 million people come and read our sites on a monthly basis, whether that's LGBTQ Nation, which is our kind of our traditional news site, Queerty, our entertainment site, Into, which is really focused on the Gen Z community and the kind of issues that they're facing that are different than us, and Gay Cities, which is like a kind of a gay TripAdvisor or Yelp. Amongst these, we're trying to hit upon the things that really help people live their lives to the fullest, whether it's knowing the best thing to watch this weekend, the best place to go for dinner this weekend, or really diving deep into the issues that matter to us.
So Scott, aside from the idea of creating and building true, genuine relationships and communication that's genuine, what other things can business owners do to better understand the market and how to actually break through in a genuine way?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to know that about 75% of the LGBTQ community has said that they are willing to switch brands to a brand that is loyal to our community, that spends money in LGBTQ advertising, that stands up for the issues in the community. So if you are aligned, there's really some simple things you can do. Um, Speaking to those issues, talking about your support of the community, and you said it, 4 to 7% of, depending on the numbers you read, of folks in the United States are LGBTQ. There's probably employees in your company that are LGBTQ that can be a great resource. You don't need a big fancy agency. Obviously, the bigger you are, maybe then you will, but it's a great place to start. And chat with friends, do things, but it's sometimes the simple things go a very long way. It might be a donation to a local LGBTQ center, or or it might be just talking about the issues in your social channels or your blog. And as much as I do say don't limit it to just Pride, there's Pride is right around the corner. The month of June is Pride month. It might be a good place to start, and to try to dip your toes into the water, get out there, as long as there's something in July and August and September as well.
That's right. It's not just June. But to your point, June might be a good time to, like you said, dip your toes into the water, and then have a strategy for how you're going to continue that conversation for the other remaining months of the year. And I like what you said about, contributing to the community, but then not being, not holding the cards close to the vest. Like, promote
Mhm.
that. Tell
Absolutely.
people, like, really get out there and publicize the fact that, yeah, you're doing that. And again, if it's coming from a genuine place, everything should align.
Yeah, and something as simple, people will they'll do a percentage of a particular product sale given to a local LGBTQ charity. It may be just advertising, in if you're local, and advertising in a local newspaper. If you're national, looking at properties like ours at Q.Digital or other sites for the community and getting out there digitally. But kind of putting a little bit of money where your mouth is, something you can afford, but ultimately saying this is something that we care about. That goes a long way on top of any messaging that you're looking to do as well.
Yeah, I love that. So tell us a little bit more about the work that you're doing, and I'll show your website on the screen.
Yeah, ultimately, we're in the business of connecting brands to this community, as well as creating content that our community loves. And we've been lucky to work with brands like, Lexus and Chevrolet and Target and MasterCard, Capital One. We're ultimately trying to figure out how do we essentially connect them in a unique and authentic way. And we create custom video, we create custom content, pure advertising campaigns. It's ultimately all about kind of helping you come up with a custom thought, a way of approaching this community. Um, but generally, by the time that people are working with us, they've actually already tried lots of stuff and have gotten out there in the community. But we're happy to always kind of share our take, even if you're not working with us.
Yeah, I love that. And what does the future hold? I mean, you've been at this what now? I think you said 14 years.
Yeah, it's been 14 years and we continue to grow. I mean, we're very proud to be the number one LGBTQ online network in the United States. You can reach more people through us than anyone else, and we're super proud of that. Ultimately, we're serving our community. We're, as much as we are connecting brands to our community, our responsibility is to provide what our audience cares about and what they want. So you'll see lots more great content from us, and especially as things shift online, we're spending more time on video and more time on social. These are not, we're seeing this all across the internet and certainly through our community as well. So you'll see more and more from us on that.
Well, that's great. And on the subject of distribution, if people want to connect with the content that you're creating for your various brands, what
Mhm.
is the best way for people to really tap into the richness of the content that's being
Yeah,
done?
so thank you for asking that. Yeah, if you visit www.q.digital.com, excuse me, q.digital, no .com, just www.q.digital. We have a great contact link on there that'll get you right in touch with us, and it's a great way to start the conversation.
Awesome. One of the things we love to do on Cash In on Camera is stop marketing like it's 1999. Big Prince fan over here. What
Love it.
is what is a tip, tool, or tactic that's helping you, Scott, to market? It could be you personally or Q Digital, something that you've learned about, or a tool that's really helping you to get the word out about Q Digital.
Well, it's going to sound, I feel almost it does sound a little old school, but everything that's old is new again. And,
I
you
love
mentioned I was into television producing for various different folks. And video is very much a focus right now. Whether you're probably sitting there watching on TikTok like everybody else, or on Instagram Reels, or on YouTube. And especially for folks that are younger than I am, it's become a primary method and primary way of connecting and learning about information. So don't be afraid to create content. Don't be afraid to put stuff out there that's uniquely you. And it doesn't have to be very fancy, whether it's how to fix your washing machine and you're a local repair person, or how to, or something that's kind of funny and quirky and weird. All of it finds an audience, and then that audience finds you. And we've been, as I said earlier, we've been spending a lot of effort on creating fun, exciting video for the LGBTQ community, and it works. It brings in folks, people enjoy it, and ultimately they get to know your brand.
Yeah, I love that. You're right. I think video, I'm a video first type of person. I love
Mhm.
audio. I think written content has a place too, but for for starting with video, I think it really just allows you to have kind of the best of all worlds in that
Mhm.
sense, especially if you start to do some repurposing into short clips like you mentioned. I think that can be a really strong strategy. So,
I think I'm going to I want to double down on what you just said. Cutting it into different size clips for different kinds of places is such an incredibly valuable thing. You might create a longer YouTube video, but a short Instagram Reels video that'll get in front of a huge audience. So it's one of the great things. It's a little bit of work, but it has a lot of payoff.
and it's one of the things we do here, right?
Right?
This is the macro, right? We do this longer form interview, and then we will cut a short clip, which you're going to get, Scott. We're going
I
to
love it.
put this into a short clip, and then send that to you as well. So I really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing your insights, your experience, and helping us all learn about the important work that you're doing for the LGBTQ community.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And this was a fun conversation. Thank